Recognizing signs of depression may be the first step toward saving a loved one's life. Two mothers share their stories of profound loss and how they are reaching out to others. Also, a local family shelter invites you to play golf during its annual fundraiser and will introduce you to its president of the board. This Human Services Forum begins now. Hi, I'm Jan Callahan, and welcome to the Forum. Elaine Roberts and Kathy Wakefield have each lost a child to suicide. Working through the pain is a journey no one wants to experience, but they decided to do something positive, and we welcome them to the show. I want to thank you both for coming on. I think it's a very brave thing to do, but I know that it's something you've wanted to do. Your children, of course, are such a huge part of your lives and still are. Clearly, as you work through all of this. Elaine, you have, share a little bit about your story, if you will, in a way that you feel comfortable.
Well, I lost my daughter, Kyla, who was a 9th grader at Cox at the age of 15. And she was diagnosed with chronic depression. And the evaluation said not suicidal at this time. In some ways, I wish they had said at this time, and then we would have known more what to do, but I got her into therapy, and she was seeing a therapist at the time. But we lost her in February 29th, leap year day, in 2004. So Kyla's my only child, and she's wonderful, and artistic and fun and funny, and a good heart. And after my loss, I was speaking to a group, and a mutual friend of Kathy's and mine said that we needed to get together, that she had a friend as well, a mother, and we're both educators, prior educators, who'd lost her child and had already begun the journey of starting a group. So Kathy, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, well, thank you. My name's Kathy Wakefield, and I lost my 21-year-old son, Jake Wakefield, to suicide. Unlike Elaine's story, Jake was not in treatment. It was undiagnosed depression. And it was just short of his 22nd birthday. It seemingly came out of nowhere. And I had been an educator my whole life, and so when I pondered how to move forward after this great tragedy befell me, I realized all I knew was education. I'd either been a student or before students my whole life. And so I started the organization I Need a Lighthouse, which is a depression suicide education awareness program. So using the educational skills I had, the whole format of this program is education-based solely.
Okay, and we'll have up on the screen on occasion the I Need a Lighthouse website, which is filled with information for people who may just have questions or have some concerns, but you should be able to find answers there. Also, a couple of hotlines that can be reached: 1-800-723-TALK and 1-800-627-LIFE, and I believe each of those hotlines is manned by people who are skilled but in certain areas.
Correct, and 627-LIFE is local. It's Virginia Beach Psychiatric Center, and the benefit of that is it's local here in the Hampton Roads community, and it is manned by mental health professionals 24/7. And all about Lighthouse, we direct to resources. As I said, we're educationally based, but we will direct to resources either through contacting me or, even better, the website. We have a great reference there.
All right. Well, we've talked a little bit about why you're here and what brings you here and some of the things that people can do, but we'll get back to the basics about depression, since that seems to be an area that, at least in some people's experiences, has been something that was attached to, or in some way had a relationship with what transpired. So with your daughter, and she was under treatment, you said. This whole idea of depression is something that, as a mother, you had noticed.
Well, yes, but I was struggling with this teenage angst. Yeah. But I found Kyla smoking pot in the morning before she was going to go to school. And so I was concerned, obviously, and I was able to talk with someone in mental services, and they said, you know, Elaine, it may just be a thing, rebellion, but lots of times people self-medicate when they're depressed, and that's what it might be. So you need to have her evaluated. So that helped me, because I don't know that all parents would think that they have a child that's depressed and they're self-medicating. They would just think that they're trying something.
Yes.
So that's when I got her diagnosed, and with a diagnosis as chronic depression, and got her into therapy. But I will say, as a parent with a child still living in your home, you really, I call it the most important interview of your child's life. Just because you get them to a therapist doesn't mean that they're connecting with that therapist, that they're the right therapist. So you really need to stay on top of that, and as soon as you realize your child is not connecting, you need to quickly inquire to find the right one. And you can't leave them without therapy, though. That's also the catch-22, because Kyla was not connecting with hers, and within 2 weeks, while I was looking for another one, she took her life. So I call it the most important interview of your child's life. Make sure they are connecting and that the therapist is working with your child.
Yes, yes. That's true across the board, but people don't often feel that they can speak out about it. With a child, particularly, as you said, you don't know. Is it a phase? Is it something they're going through? Is it something more? It is very, very difficult to sort that out. And it must be very hard when you feel like maybe you should have seen more. And I know people often feel that way when something happens and they feel like, well, what did I miss?
Oh, hindsight is terrific.
Yeah.
You know, and then the guilt that you have as a survivor. And I will say, a friend of mine, after I lost Kyla, called Kathy and picked up information from Kathy about the signs of depression. And really, the material that I read that came from I Need a Lighthouse after the loss of my daughter, I thought, if I had had this information before, even though I did have my child in therapy, even though I did participate, I did everything I knew to do, but just that simple list, I thought, wow, I could check off a lot of them. And that came from I Need a Lighthouse and Kathy.
Yes, and Kathy, that information, hopefully you can share a little with us about that might help somebody who's watching, or someone who can make a call or check out your website.
You know, everything is on the website. We have our informational brochure that we offer to students. We call it the Cliff Notes.
Yes.
If they're not paying attention during our presentation, they can always have this to refer to. And in the process of doing all this, I've learned that depression is a disease, and it can only be diagnosed by a medical professional or a mental health professional, not your best friend, and your best friend can't walk you through it. And far too often we think we can, either as a friend or the parent. We want to fix it for them. But there's some specific symptoms, ranging from physical symptoms that you can go to your medical doctor, from headaches, chronic gastrointestinal problems, muscle spasms, and so forth. But when you go to the doctor, you've got to say more than, I've had a headache for about 2 weeks. You've got to tell what else is going on in your life, or there's going to be a misdiagnosis for it. And 2 weeks is a pivotal time frame for diagnosing clinical depression. But there are other signs and symptoms that can occur. However, people are not always forthcoming about them. That's why I said it is one of the most difficult diseases to diagnose, because depression in me might manifest totally different than in the two of you. You all might want to sleep, might not want to eat. I might not be able to sleep, and I'm eating all the time. So just as we're individuals in a uniquely wonderful way, it can also work against it. So you've got to be very in tune with yourself or your friend. We tell the students that they're the lighthouse, they're the beacon of hope for their friend, because more than likely in this hectic society that we live in, they are with their friends far often more than the parent or family member is. They can see the subtle changes that we bring out when we talk about signs and symptoms and triggers of depression. And statistically, 66% of the people that complete suicide are depressed at the time of their death. 90% of people that complete suicide have a pre-existing mental disorder. But once again, that's why it's called the silent epidemic, because nobody will talk about it and reach out about it. There's so much shame and stigma associated with it.
Right, and because it is inside of you and it's not something a blood test will necessarily tell you about, it does create a real difficulty for people who don't know how to express themselves or are ashamed to express themselves, feel that maybe they don't, what they're feeling is not valid. And that's the point, is making sure people are validated in their feelings so that people will.
Exactly right. And depression is a very isolating disease. Just as you said, you're having all these thoughts that don't even make sense to you. How do you even share that with your best friend, your grandmother, your mom, your guardian? It's like, well, I think I'm crazy. Well, I think I'm crazy. What do I do? And that's why, as a teen, as well as any, but the focus with Lighthouse is the young adults and teens. Is you've got to reach out. You've got to be there. You're the one that can see these subtle changes that might be missed by someone else. And we always say, get a trusted adult involved immediately so you can get the professional help you need.
That is and that's not always easy for a teen or a young adult to get a trusted adult involved. And but
well, I absolutely what Lighthouse Kathy's doing in the school system is she is teaching them how to handle the situation when they are feeling depressed or suicidal and or have a friend. The night before Kyla took her life, she was at a friend's house, and so Kyla was talking about suicide, and her friends, the adult, got alarmed, and then the kid said, oh, she talks about suicide all the time, even the music she was going to play. So, but the adult should have called me. That's another message, is do not wait. Should have called me that night so I could have gone and got my daughter. By the time that she had returned the children, Kyla got picked up by an aunt who wanted to take her to lunch. I wish it had been me. And then the adult might have said it then. But by the time that adult had gotten gotten the other children back home, on Sunday, Kyla had already taken her life. So the message is you cannot wait if you know something like that. And teens need to be educated as well as others, if they're talking about it, that there's a high probability that they will do it.
So take it seriously when somebody brings that word up, for sure, or is leaning in that direction and doesn't let it go. Don't let it go.
Don't let them go.
So taking action, listening, being a good listener, and knowing what to do and who to go to are all things that people sometimes, because they didn't think they'd ever have to face this or make a decision or help somebody, they're not really sure.
Well, it's very scary. I mean, with a broken arm, it's pretty clear-cut what you need to do to get that fixed. And with this, how do you fix this and what someone's feeling, and then you personalize it perhaps for yourself? Oh my gosh, what do I do? Well, really, at any age, you get a responsible person, a trained medical or mental health professional involved immediately. And I'm not so naive as to think it's, oh, lickety-split, let's do this. But we recently had a mother call and say, my daughter is currently in a psychiatric unit, and it is because she heard you all talk. She realized some of the signs and symptoms that you were talking about were her. Blessedly, she and her daughter had a good enough relationship. The young lady came to her mom, and the mom was proactive herself and listened to her daughter and sought the treatment. Wow. So those are the stories that give you the tingles, and you know someone has heard you. But one thing we talk about is empowering the students. As you all know, having a best friend, even at our age, you can tell them anything, but if they betray your confidence, you're done.
Yeah.
And at adolescence, it's even more critical that bond of confidentiality is kept. This is the one time you break that, and you get someone involved that can get you to the resources you need. And we always say it's better to have a mad friend than a dead friend.
Yes. You have a couple of events that are going to be taking place that will to help share some awareness of depression, and also to provide some information, education to people about support. Can you tell me that we have a 5K that's coming up in May? Is that correct?
Yes, we have the Beacon of Hope 5K run walk and 1 mile memory walk. And Kathy and I decided over 5 years ago that we wanted to have an event that included everyone, walkers, runners, and when the 1 mile memory walk, you can bring your stroller to that. We have a memory wall where you bring a copy. If you've lost someone to suicide, you can put that up as well. Kathy, you want to talk some more about the event?
Well, yeah, like Elaine said, it's our 5th annual. It's going to be Sunday, May 20th, 9 o'clock, Virginia Beach, Oceanfront, 24th Street Park. And we're incorporating a family event feel to it. So if you want to run, we've got activities for the younger children that they can participate in while you're either running or doing the 1 mile memory walk. And it's just a great outreach. It will be chip timed this year for the very serious racers. That's a big plus, I understand. But it can also encompass the people that want to walk or do the 1 mile memory walk. So we're trying to be positive and have an outreach so that all can come and have a good time and for a good cause.
Great, and just bringing people together to share and support one another is just, I guess, really the most important thing of all, to know that you are not alone. Right. And that others aren't either. You also had suggested that if people are going to participate, that they bring a can of food for the food bank of Southeastern Virginia. Is that correct?
Yes, we know that these are difficult times for people, and depression can come with not having a job or not enough food. And 1 out of 3 to 4 people in Hampton Roads are food deprived. So this is another way that we can help. Is to bring canned food, and also at the event itself, we will have material, and we'll have people, the therapists that can meet with people if they need someone, and that comes from
Regent University Psychological Services Center.
Okay, wonderful. So there are a lot of resources that'll be right at hand, right there.
And fun, free massages
are
being donated.
Absolutely, in the oceanfront.
Entertainment.
How much better can you get than that?
Sure.
Well, I know. Please, we encourage you to visit the website ineedalighthouse.org, and there's more information about this event as well as another event for teens, and more information too if you would like to learn more about this. There's always the possibility it's going to help somebody. It's going to save a life, and it's also going to help somebody move on. So thank you for coming on and sharing your stories. We really appreciate it. And the best of luck to both of you. And good luck at the event, too.
Thanks for having us.
All right. You're welcome. Well, when we come back, we're going to tell you how you can help families in crisis find shelter and support. And we're going to introduce you to the president of the board as well. So don't go away.
Have you heard? The U.S. Treasury is phasing out paper checks for Social Security, VA, and other federal benefit payments and going electronic. If you currently receive federal benefits by paper check, you will need to switch to direct deposit or to the Treasury recommended Direct Express Debit MasterCard. If you plan to apply for federal benefits soon, you'll want to decide which electronic payment option is right for you. Visit godirect.org to learn more or to make the switch today.
Did you know that families make up more than 45% of the homeless in Hampton Roads? The Dwelling Place, based in Norfolk, makes its business to provide shelter and support to families in crisis throughout the region. And to continue this amazing service, it needs the community's help. Joining me is Sarah Quisenberry, and she is president of the board at the Dwelling Place. And the Dwelling Place is not a brand new organization, certainly not. It's been around, but you're busier than ever.
We've been around for 26 years,
wow.
And unfortunately there has not been a decrease in the demand for services.
Right.
And with the recession, there's always families in need. There's a waiting list for help in family shelters.
Yes, the Dwelling Place being one of them. And what is it that makes these shelters so necessary?
There's a combination of things that can get a family into crisis. It can be a loss of a job. a long-term illness of a spouse, depression. Often there's a mental health issue that may be involved, and there's a high correlation of abuse somewhere in the background for the family, and just things become overwhelming and get behind on the bills, or low income or no job, and they end up coming to us at the shelter. And what I like to say is we provide a respite for them to catch their breath, and we provide a family home. We have 2 homes. We shelter 14 families at a time, and each family has a bedroom, and then there's a communal living room and a communal kitchen, so the families are preparing their own meals just like they would in their own home. Meanwhile, we're bringing in case management services to put them in touch with extra services, providing them resources, skills. We work with them on budgeting, how to interview. We have people donate clothes for people to go on interviews and jobs. If they don't have a job, we work with them to find employment and just increase their skills, give them a chance to save some money. And as soon as possible, we want to get them out back into independent housing. And then we have an in-home program where we stay with the family for the first 12 months out of the shelter.
I see.
So that to help continue provide case management, deal with any hurdles that they may have. If they lose their job, help them get a job again. That's the biggest hurdle right now is with the economy, jobs, and
There isn't a person that hasn't touched in some way.
yes.
Right, yeah. And it's got to be tremendously difficult, and I'm not going to speak for the families that come to your shelter or others, but it has to be tremendously difficult to do this. But it also must be a tremendous relief to know that there is some way to see out of this situation, and that you provide the types of things that might give them the skills they need.
And we partner with a lot of other agencies as well. Project Reach comes in and works with the children, and we work with the City of Norfolk very closely on providing resources for our clients. So there's a lot of partnership with all the different agencies who are coming in and helping the families who are residing in our shelter. And the other thing that we really try to do is give the homeless child a sense of normalcy. They have a home. They stay in their school of origin. We have a child annex afterwards, so they have a place to come after school, and there are computers there for them to work on homework or learn, get on the internet, watch movies, a place for the children to come together and play. We have special activities for the children. Last week was spring break, and they took them out to the Norfolk Botanical Garden and lots of different events in the area, so that it's helping the children, because a lot of homeless children do fall behind in school and have developmental issues. So we try to help the children, but also give them fun activities and
Called a
sense
diversion,
of normalcy
yes.
for a child. I think that's important. I think one of the things that the statistics that sticks with me the most, the average age of a person residing at the shelter, at the dwelling place, is 9 years old.
Wow.
Most of our families are young single mothers, but we do at our shelter, we have dual parent families. We have had some single father families. So we will take the whole family, and the other thing at the shelter that I like is the family stays intact.
Yes, that is, I guess, again, part of that whole, the stability and the normal environment that you want, or situation anyway, if not environment.
Right. Our goal is we bring them into the shelter to stabilize them, and get them skills, resources, increase their income, and as soon as possible get them into their own housing again, and follow up to get them into self-sufficiency. Because what we really would like to do is break that cycle of homelessness.
Yes.
So that people are returned to the community and
Feeling more whole than when they came in, I would imagine. Yeah, yeah. It's an important bridge to the future.
It is. I do it because, I was very fortunate. I had great growing up. I mean, my father is a college professor, I never worried about where I was going to sleep, what I was going to eat. You know, I may not have liked what was on the table, but I always knew we had food. And my biggest concern growing up was making the softball team. And I'd look at a child in a homeless family, the worries that they have and the stresses that they have.
Things you never dreamt of.
Where are they going to, and I just realized how blessed I am. And that's why I do what I do at the shelter, to give back and to help a child, because a child should not suffer because of circumstances that their family finds themselves in, or poor choices that may have been made.
Right. Well, these children, I'm sure, also learn an awful lot through in their own way at that point in their lives.
Yes, what we really hope is to help them in school. That's why we work so much with Project Reach, to help their school reading, tutoring, and a sense of empowerment for them and for their parents, that they can be successful. And thereby we will eventually break that intergenerational cycle.
It's a lot of work. I know you have a lot of people that work very hard and are very dedicated in what they do. Part of what you do to keep going, though, is also to raise money, since the funds don't just come on trees, but there might be a few sprinkled about the golf course. So I know that is
our
one
big
of your major
fundraiser
ones.
coming up is May 10th. And it's our 9th annual golf classic.
For the Dwelling Place.
For the Dwelling Place. This year it is Thursday, May 10th. And it's at Elizabeth Manor in Portsmouth. We're very excited about that.
Great.
We've got, it's $100 per golfer, $400 for a team. We have several wonderful sponsors who have sponsored the golf event: ManCon, Portfolio Recovery, Auto Connection. Pomoco has donated a Fiat that will be available for a hole-in-one prize.
Okay.
And so if you want a Fiat, come and, got to be the first one to get the hole-in-one on that prize, but on that hole. But we also have another hole-in-one prize and another hole of a golf bag and clubs, and we'll have a putting contest and a lot of fun games. And so if you come, and we'll have lunch, and the driving range will be open, and then the putting contest, and it's a 1 o'clock shotgun start, and we usually end around 5:30, and we'll have a reception afterwards, and we'll have lots of raffle prizes available. The local business community has been very supportive in donating items for the raffle.
That's great. I know they have a great time, because I have been to the reception after the game before at another location, and they have a great time. Even if it rains, they have a great time.
Even if it
rained like mad last year, and then the sun came out, and you never knew it would rain except for the puddles, but they still had fun.
Well, we've had rain the past 3 years, so I'm hoping for sun this year.
Okay, well, that's what we're going to have to hope for. So far, so good. Thanks so much, Sarah, for joining us and letting us know about the Dwelling Place and the upcoming tournament.
The registration information is on our website.
Okay, and we have had it up on the screen, too, so that people can give a call or check it out.
Great, thank you.
Okay, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.